Hello, and welcome to this week's Align and Activate Your Spiritual Business. So, this is episode 3, which is authentically expressing your gifts. So, I am Jenny Priestner, manifestation and mindset mentor. I help spiritual biz owners overcome fear and embrace their divine power to manifest a thriving soul led business. And I am teamed with the beautiful.
Activation Amy. So I am a light language guide and channel, and I help light workers to activate their spiritual gifts, own their healing and channeling abilities, and create beautiful lives and businesses as a result.
Oh, loving that one. So, yeah, if you're not used to our podcast, then, so we are here drawing on our experiences as soul-led entrepreneurs to help you create a thriving business as well. So today then we are going to be speaking about authentically expressing your gifts and how working through the fear of being seen is going to allow you to manifest then this thriving business that we are all trying to create. So if you haven't seen our channel before, I just want to ask you to like and subscribe just so that you get all the notifications and just let us know that you are absolutely loving the content. So then, showing up authentically in your business, Amy, what does that mean to you?
It means just being who you are. It's not something that you're trying to be. You literally just being. I feel like it's a state of allowing. Okay, it's a state of, for me, I'll try and it's best just to explain like really what I feel like it is. It's when I'm not overthinking. It's when, maybe sometimes I'll be a little bit silly when in the moment, if that's what, if I'm flowing with it. It's just pure expression, and it feels easy. It just feels really, really easy. It's like it was so much harder when I had to go and do a job that, work in a corporate environment, or like it's just being you. I don't know any other way of saying it, and I don't want to overcomplicate it. It's just being you and knowing that you are enough. That's what I feel it looks like. What would you say?
I love that explanation. You touched on something there, and it was just so simple. And it's about showing up without any interruptions because when you are flowing as your authentic self, you're not allowing these mindsets to come in that are trying to kind of like kibosh what you're doing. So, yeah, I completely agree. It is just showing up. And when you are gifted and when you are channeling your gifts, it is a case of you don't have to think what you're doing. You could just do it with your eyes shut because it just comes naturally to you because this is what you're channeling. And mine was exactly the same. I had a corporate job and I was very good at my corporate job, but I had to really think what I was doing because it wasn't what I was meant to be doing. And my corporate job was a very mathematical mindset and spreadsheets and things like that. And yeah, obviously I owned it, but it really, really, really like I had to wrap my brain around all like the fractions and maths and things like that. Like numeracy is not my bag, but like just analyzing someone's energy and scanning the brain and stuff like that, I can just do that in seconds. And that's obviously the same with you. So it's when you are in alignment with your gift, it does just come naturally to you. It just happens easily. You are in flow. So,
Mm.
with that said, then, what then makes it where we aren't in flow? Why do we make it so difficult for ourselves? Why do we create barriers?
Yeah, so it's all the programming again from childhood, and not even just from childhood, but just from life. All these things that tell us like it's not okay to be you, right? That work is supposed to look like this. You're supposed to be serious, and it's supposed to be hard, and you've got to be talking at a million miles an hour every minute. And if that's what it looks like for you, because it does look like that for you, Jenny, by the way, like, but if not everyone is like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, we're all different, aren't we? And we get programmed that like we have to be in hustle culture, and it's all output, output, output all the time, when it's much more subtle than that. It's like when you have a spiritual business, it's about you knowing that your energy is enough, right? Because we're operating on the level of frequency, and people, like we've discussed in previous podcasts, like people don't, when they invest in you, they're not so much investing in a service as much as they're investing in your energy and being around you. And the reason why people get in their heads about it is because that's not what we're taught. We're not taught that as a kid, that you are enough and that your energy is enough and it's okay to be yourself. You're not taught that. Like at school, we go through all this conditioning about, let's learn about, the dimensions of a triangle, right? Let's learn about, I don't even know what it's called. I can't remember any of it. Let's learn about history that doesn't matter. And if you want to be a historian, great.
Pythagoras' theorem.
Yeah,
I always
like
fall upon that though in my coaching every day.
well, it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like we taught all this stuff, and it's crazy how much stuff we taught that doesn't fucking matter. Like it's so beyond doesn't fucking matter. Like I can't even tell you. Like this is getting on another topic, but kids in school need to be taught emotional resilience, right? Like looking after your well-being, self-care,
Meditation, grounding.
meditation, exactly, yoga, like how to actually live, how to manage your bills. Do you know what I mean? Like all this stuff, all this mad stuff that you learn at school. Anyway,
I'm not going to reply on that one because that is an absolute like I'll just be like down the rabbit hole on that one.
yeah, I know. So my point was, because we're not conditioned to believe that we are enough and that our energy is enough and that what we have to give is exactly what other people are needing, because otherwise we wouldn't have that gift, because it's the collective consciousness that is actually calling for our gift, and that's the reason why we have it in the first place and the desire to give it. So that's what I believe is why. What would you say is
I just
why?
love how you've touched on programming there. Like, program is my absolute, I could just speak all day on it. And if you really want to,
Yeah.
we have actually done a whole podcast on programming. So go and have a look at that one on our profiles, on our YouTube profiles, if you want to go into that one. But I will say this. So imagine, right? So you are born a human being on this earth and you're just there and you grow up as a human being and you have a human being experience. Then all of a sudden, you go for a spiritual awakening, maybe in your 20s, maybe in your 30s, and you start to realize that you've got gifts or psychic abilities or you can channel energy. And all of a sudden, it's like, but this goes against everything that I've been taught. Like, I'm just supposed to be a plain human being doing a plain human being thing, sat in a corporate job, like a cog, like everybody else, like being a good sheep, sat there with my hunched neck, just doing this all day at my job. And then all of a sudden, you have this revelation that you are a spiritual being, and we're a spiritual being having a human experience. But then all of a sudden, it's like, but this isn't right. Because I'm now not normal. I'm now not like everyone else. And that's where like this fear kind of like sets in because it's like what the fuck's happening? Do you know what I mean? Like, and so I believe, like how you've just said about the programming, like, it is just get up, go to school, go out, that's just how we are led to believe. But I feel, imagine if when you were born, you were given a card. And on this card, it had written, you are gifted and you've got gifts. So every day of your life, you read this, that when your gifts started coming through, you would accept them wholeheartedly because you had programmed yourself that I am gifted. I have got energy. I'm channeling this. I'm a Reiki master. I'm a coach. And you'd be so more accepting it. And then you'd be prepared then to put it out into the world. So the first bit of battle then is once your gifts start coming through, it's like, okay, shit, like none of my friends have got this. Like, am I going to be accepted? Is this okay? Is this right? How do I go about telling my parents? Like, all these things crop up in your mind because all of a sudden you've deemed yourself different from the crowd. You are now the black sheep of society. So that's how I kind of see all that. But what's happening is all these little black sheeps are all congregating together, and then now they are now coming. Like it's now coming the norm. Loads more people are waking up. Loads more people are realizing that they have got gifts. This is okay. And not to be afraid to express these gifts because this is now like, well, are you not gifted? Well, boo you. Like, no, that's spiritual ego. But I'm just saying though, but it's like rather than being the odd one out, we are now like there's more and more people realizing that this is the norm and what we were programmed to be, which is like normal, isn't normal. So it's like it's all turning on its head all of a sudden, isn't it? But in order to get yourself into that place of accepting who you are, loving who you are, and embracing your gifts so you can show up in your business and express them authentically, it is about unstitching, undoing, unraveling those programs that were infiltrated into your mind from day dot until now, until you decided to wake up and be like, hello, I'm here. I'm ready to show my gift to the world. So, yeah, I love that one. So, I think we should all be given the card. You're gifted and you know it, man. So many American accents today. Sorry.
So many accents. Yeah, so many American accents. Sorry, Americans, because everybody is probably.
Is it on point?
um, yeah, like it's just your belief system, and it's something that, we both do this work, but I know especially it's your kind of forte, so to speak. But you can, what I work through with my clients is programming them into a different belief that their gifts are important and they are needed, right? Because that is actual truth. Like I was saying before, is if you feel called to be of service, and you are meant to be of service, and as long as you keep choosing to answer that call, the people are there for you, right? And it's just programming yourself into that belief that you are needed, right? And when you start to work with that, it's like the doors do start to open, because if you've got a self concept that's like, I'm not important, like all this spiritual stuff, it's, a load of crap and like whatever, if you still got that belief in your mind that, spirituality isn't important, you don't deserve to, because we are speaking obviously to spiritual entrepreneurs and business owners, whatever, right here, it's like it is really working on those beliefs that, my gifts are important and it's safe for me to express them authentically. So something that comes up a lot as well with my clients is like, they talk about the light worker persecution and all of that. But I have got to say, I'm not saying it's not a thing, because we have had past lives and all of that where things have most likely happened to us. I've done a lot of quantum regressions on this subject and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, now is the only life that matters, because this is where your power is. And this is why it is important to work with your conscious mind and reprogram that. So whatever happened in the past, it doesn't have any power over you unless you still choose that reality. Right? So stop making that excuse if this is you, because it's bullshit. Like, I love you, but it is like, that's not now. So it's like, it can feel like it's now, and it can feel like a soul memory. But, inner child work, reprogramming, working on your limiting beliefs, all this stuff is how we start to move past that. Because I know that anytime I speak about something, I know it's something that, I've worked through myself, and it's like we can make these excuses, but really it's just another limiting belief. This, like, oh, I was burnt as a witch, it's still a limiting belief if you're using that as an excuse. Like, that's not now. You're not going to get burnt at the stake now, so that's a limiting belief.
I feel like we need to rename it from Align and Activate to like Tough Love for Spiritual Entrepreneurs.
Don't, like, I've heard that
Why are you
quite a
fucking head
few
out?
times. It's like, yes, I understand that is a thing and it feels real, but it's still just fear. If we look at the emotion, if we look at the emotion beneath that, that is just still fear playing out, and it's an excuse. And really, the limiting belief at the core of that is, I'm not safe, right? And that's what it is. So that's something to work on. It's like, it is safe for me to share my gifts, right? I'm always supported, I'm always held, I'm meant to be doing this. And that's why I ask, we do a lot of work with the angels as well, because I feel like that helps people just come out of that and just know that they've got this team that's really supporting them. So I don't know what, your clients sort of come to you with, but that's definitely, you've got to work on the real grounded human level as well as past lives and quantum and all that, because it's all relevant, isn't it?
I hear you on that one. And like with what you were just saying there, it's like I am safe and I'm being accepted.
Yeah.
And with this fear, then, so if we think about manifestation for a minute, because this is what I like to deal with my clients. So if you've got a fear of rejection, so obviously you used to go into the pub on a Friday with Sally and Ben, and all of a sudden your gift's coming in the week, and it's like, shit, I've got to go and face them at the pub now. And it's like this fear of rejection comes in that what they're going to say to me. Are they going to want to be friends with me anymore? Like, what's going to happen? Like, am I going to lose all my friends now just because I've started channeling energy or whatever you do? But again, think about manifestation. So if you imagine manifestation is like your cup is full and you're like, okay, right, I am now wanting to enter into this brand new. I want to create this business, like this spiritual business. And it's like with the universe, it's like, but your cup's full. Like I can't bring you anything. So you've got to start releasing stuff. So if you've got these friends that are like kind of taunting you, are like, is that really what you'd want to do now? So you've got a nice steady job there, and all of a sudden you want to leave it and like start going to be woo woo. Ask yourself this question: are they your vibration now, or have you raised your vibration above where they are? And this is the thing with manifestation is whatever you are wanting to bring into your life, you have got to let the old go. Like you won't go out and just go and buy a whole new wardrobe and still keep hold of your old one, would you? Because you've just got so much crap in your wardrobe. So you've got to release the old in order to welcome the new in. So it is about, again, though, if you have got fear of rejection, it's like examine yourself. Who are you fearful of being rejected by? Okay. What quality do these people bring to your lives? I know it's a little bit different if it's your parents, but if it's your friends, ask yourself, are these people now your tribe, given that you are giving out a different vibe? And again, though, if you can't show up authentically as 100% yourself in front of your friends, are they even your friends? Like, if you can't express yourself freely to who you surround yourself with and, feel in a safe space with your friends, like, are they really the right people for you now? And I think sometimes this is a tough pill for people to swallow. And again, it goes back to, we've said it quite a few times, like, oh, but I've been friends with them for years. It's like, I don't care if they no longer serve you in your life and you're feeling anxious about going and meeting them and you don't want to tell them about your life. That's not your friend, is it? Your friend should be where you go in, the house is unlocked, you waltz in, you put your slippers on because they're already there, and you're just able to tell them everything that's going on in your life. And they don't sit there looking at you like you've got three eyes because all of a sudden you have because you've activated your third eye. Like they're just sat there and they're like, oh my God, tell me about that. What does that feel like? What does that look like? If you've not got a friend showing curiosity, in your business, in your new powers, in your new abilities, then really you've got to start changing who you're hanging around with. Because again, though, if we think about moldy apples together and one's moldy and one's not, it's like the mold starts encroaching on the other one. It's like, so who you hang around with affects your vibration. And quite a lot of people that I speak to and clients as well, they go through this period of solitude, especially
Yeah.
when they are in their spiritual business. And one of them said, like, I'm just so lonely. So, they started coming to our ceremony, the Gateway to the Higher Self. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not going to be lonely when you come to that ceremony because everyone there in that ceremony is on the same vibration as you. But the reason why you're feeling lonely at this moment in time is because the universe has removed you from the people that are no longer serving you, that aren't on your vibration. So rather than panicking about it, like, oh shit, I've got no friends, what is happening? It's just a case of, right, the universe is now giving me time just to sort my head out, to sort myself out, to calibrate my vibration in order to go forward. And yeah, just gain some new friends. So with this fear of rejection then, or fear of judgment, it's again, like Amy's just said, it's all in your head. But it's all in your head, but based on programs. So I have just done a live on this on Instagram. I don't know if you follow us on Instagram. Our handles are down below if you don't. But again, though, to work through these limiting beliefs, like you're not just going to sit there one day and all of a sudden these limiting beliefs are going to be gone. You've literally got to sit with them. Every belief that comes up, every thought that comes up, every thought that you've had is a belief somewhere deep down. If it's not yours, you should be able to say and dismiss it. But if it's come from somewhere, sit with it. Like if it's come up, don't just be like, oh, I'm scared of it. Like, where's it come from? Why is it here? And try to get to the bottom of it. And that is how you'll dig to the root of your limiting beliefs. And when you've got to the root, it's like a dandelion. You can dig it up then rather than snapping the leaves off and hoping everything will be okay. So, yeah, with that one, it is a case of if you have got the fear of judgment and things like that, just ask yourself, who are you being judged off? And why are they being a judgy budgy? Do they deserve to judge you? And judge
Okay.
judgy budgy.
Okay.
You know that one. Judgy budgy.
No.
Or Judge Judy there, like that. You know, like when you're sending an emoji and you send the little judge out, being a Judge Judy, Judge Jenny, as the
Oh
case
my
is today.
God.
But yeah, like who are these people to be judging you when really get on your spiritual ego and be like, where's your powers? Where's your abilities? Where's your gifts? Not done your work yet, I see. Sort your head out.
Okay. So yeah, definitely agreeing with you. Like I definitely went through a period of my life, probably a couple of years, where I probably only had maybe Catherine that, was like my spiritual friend. Like I didn't
You were
really
seeing
have
angels and demons at the time, so God help both of you.
yeah,
What a
yeah.
combo.
He was like well deep in a first stages of her awakening. So she hadn't sort of learned to, let's say, hone her gift in the way that she has now. Like so, and it was the same with my mum actually, but that's a whole other story. So because my mum's a medium, and in the beginning, like opening up to her gifts when you don't really know what to do and you're seeing all this shit and you don't know how to say no, good spiritual boundaries. But anyway, yeah. So we only had Catherine at one point, and it's definitely been a journey. It's only really been in the past year or so, maybe 18 months, I would say, where I really, really do have a really, really beautiful group of amazing, authentic friends around me who are really like doing the work and that I'm really fully able to talk about everything. So just to come back to Sally and Ben in the pub, okay, as well. Sally and Ben. So I also believe in the everyone is you pushed out concept, right? Which is, as I've mentioned before, Neville Goddard, okay? And that is that everyone is a mirror to our consciousness, in that there's different versions of people, because I believe in parallel realities as well, right? And we're all interacting with these different parallel realities based on our beliefs and where we are in any given moment. So what I've also seen with my clients is that in the beginning, when you first like you come out of the spiritual closet and you start telling people about what it is that you're doing, there can be a phase and a time where you may get resistance off people. So in the beginning, Sally and Ben could be like, oh, you're doing that spiritual stuff again, are you? Right, so they could be like that in the beginning, but as you come home to yourself and as you claim your gifts more and as you believe in yourself more, what can also potentially happen, not always, right? But what can also happen is that Sally and Ben can all of a sudden be like, so that spiritual stuff? You tell me more about it. What's a cacao ceremony? Oh, that sounds interesting. Maybe I'll come to that. Maybe there is more to this thing after all. And then maybe they go to the cacao ceremony or go for the healing session and they go through a whole awakening themselves. But also to come back to what Jenny has said, because I do agree with that as well, because that's definitely been the case on my journey. It's like some people are going to grow with you, and I feel like they were always meant to grow with you. And as you believe in yourself more, that's going to be reflected. Everyone is you pushed out in your reality, right? And at the same time, there's some people that you are going to outgrow. So you might have outgrown Sally and Ben by that point and not even realized, right? So Sally and Ben are going to be like, oh, what are you doing? And then you're just going to be like, no, actually, this is who I am now. Goodbye, Sally and Ben, right? So you're only going to know this over time. Yeah. So you're not going to know it straight away. But, if in the beginning, it can also be that you've got some limiting beliefs still that you're still working through and some doubts that may be being reflected externally. And you'll know, right? Because you'll have an emotional charge around that. Whereas when it's time to release Sally and Ben, you're not going to be sad about that so much anymore. It's just like laters, bitches, whatever, right? Like, well, like in the nicest possible way. Goodbye. Do you know what I mean? And all that. Like, but
Farewell.
yeah, but also Sally and Ben could turn out to be your new spiritual besties. So, so I think to come back to the whole point, authentically expressing your gifts, you're only going to know this by authentically expressing your gifts, by actually doing it, right? And that's why it's important to be yourself and to understand that your energy is powerful, and just know that the more confident you are in your gifts, this is what is going to be reflected back at you. This is like the work that I'm doing in my Confident Light Worker program right now, because we start off with the foundations, which is inner child work, reprogramming, and embodiment work, right? Because you've got to embody the confident version of yourself that, is activated in your gifts, even if you're not sure of it right now, because other people can feel that. Your belief in yourself is what is reflected back at you, and is what is reflected back at you in your clients as well, right? So people are always attracted to and magnetized towards a confident person, whatever it is that they're doing. But it doesn't mean that you don't have any doubts whatsoever. It just means that you're willing to sit with those doubts and not judge those doubts either, because that's a big part of this. So I guess in the beginning, it's about being open and that trusting that the right people, to come back to what you were saying, you are going to be magnetized toward them, and they are going to be magnetized towards you. And as long as you keep authentically embodying your truth, that is unavoidable no matter what.
Love it. And I'm going to go back to Sally and Ben as well. They've been busy bees this podcast. So, touching on what Amy was just saying there, where it could be, it might be a case of like they're saying, oh, water first. And then after a while, it's like, so what's this then? So, I invite you to take on the notion that everyone, the universe is all of us are messengers, okay? So, the universe speaks through every one of us to every single one of us, okay? So, as with manifestation as well, the universe always likes to throw you, and I know you don't quite agree with this concept, but which we've discussed on other podcasts, but I feel like the universe always tries to throw you just a little bit of a test just to see if you do actually want what you want. So you're there starting your spiritual business, and then someone starts to like Ben, Sally, and they're chipping in. Well, what is all this then? That is up to you then to grow and through that, because at that point you could have receded. Oh God, these people are saying this to me now. So, I don't want my best friends to fear me. And then you'll just slink back into your little hermit crab. Or it's inviting you to push through that barrier, because through that comfort zone barrier is then growth, which on the other side, then you've learned to embrace your authentic self rather than fear your authentic self. Does that make sense? So it's
Mm.
as if it's a little bit of a test, so that when the going does get a little bit tough sometimes, do you want this enough to keep pushing through it despite what the universe and messengers are saying to you, like, oh, really? Fear? Buh, 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 buh. Like, are you going to recede with that and retract your energy? Are you going to push through it and genuinely come out of the other side stronger? So think about that then as well, that although people might be saying things to you, there might be fear of judgment. And even I've had people physically say things to me when I started my business. And in that moment, there's a 50-50 split. It's like, right, okay, shit, do I just take this on now and just crack on and just go and do what I've always done and get the same results? Or do I embrace change and push through it? And sometimes as well, rather than having that fear kind of put you in a little box, I chose to take the mindset of someone else that decided to voice their opinion on my business. I decided to take that and use it as a catalyst of well, do you know what? I'm going to show you. And I am doing. And that's the choice. So it's a choice again, is whether you want to take someone's energy on, whether you want to take someone's words on, because even if someone is speaking badly to you, even if someone is imposing their opinion on you, they're well within the right to, it's freedom of speech. They can say what they want. It's whether you decide yourself to take on those words and let it to hurt you or allow it to hurt you. Because every single one of us has got a filter in front of us, and we can either allow these words to repel away from us, or we can let it in and let it hurt us and let it trigger us. So again, sometimes we do need to be triggered in order to do the work. Why did that trigger me? Why do I feel upset? To go within to the limiting beliefs that Amy was speaking about before. But if you're at the point where it's kind of repelling it, like, no, you can have that energy back because I wholeheartedly believe in what I'm meant to be doing in this lifetime. So yeah, just to invite you just to look that even though people might be saying things to you, there could be a lesson within those. So it's not just necessarily them being a dickhead. It might just be just to strengthen yourself and just so you can ask yourself, right, okay, do I actually really want to be on this path? Yes, I do. So fuck you, Ben, and off a pot, you know. There's a lot of swearing going on this podcast today, but I feel like we're like, pow, authentic gifts galore.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I think this comes back to the everyone is you pushed out concept. It's like what you believe about yourself is presented to you. So
Mm.
we are given opportunities to become more resilient in ourselves and to work through those triggers and to go, am I going to choose this? Am I going to use this to rise right now? And I think this is like where the emotional alchemy comes in. Or am I going to just get stuck in that old story and keep replaying that cycle? So it's like, what are you going to choose? Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it's okay to be triggered in the moment, because the more that we resist those triggers about what other people, are saying about us or to us, like it's just bringing judgment to that. And what we need to do when we get triggered is just to have compassion for it, to sit with it and to look at it and go, what is my actual truth here? Is this who I actually am? Am I going to be swayed by this person's opinion of me? Or am I just going to look at this and go, actually, no? And it is easy to do that, especially in the beginning of your business. Like I had Facebook ads, and I remember this one time, I woke up to this horrible, horrible comment from this woman, and the Facebook ad was like for a free course that I got absolutely incredible feedback for, and I had it for about a year, and it was called Emotional Mastery for Empaths, right? I got so much amazing feedback from this free thing, and this woman had just chosen to like comment on the thing and then put me a shit review on my page, just saying like, oh, you're preying on vulnerable people, you take advantage of people, you're a scam artist and all this.
It's a freebie. You've not charged them for it.
She'd not even signed up for it. She'd not even looked at it. She wasn't even on the email thing. She just obviously looked at like a video of me, for whatever reason, didn't like me. So obviously I triggered her, right? Because everyone is you pushed out, we're all mirrors to one another's consciousnesses, right? So it's like, and I had to, I was devastated in the beginning because I didn't have the self concept, the confidence, right, as a light work, right, as like, a healer. Like now, back then it was like I was still in the first year of my business, whatever, and it's like, oh my god, like this person saying this thing. And like over time, what happens is, and it took me out for like 3 days or something, really got me in my head, and I was like, I can't do anything because I'm so fucking triggered, right? And so I want you to know that if you're listening to this, it's okay. Like it's really okay. And I want you to know that at some point on your journey, you're going to get, if you're putting yourself out in public, something shit happen that you won't like, because it's part of it. It's unavoidable. It is absolutely unavoidable. But because that happened, and because I had to sit with it and journal on it and write it out and work through the limiting beliefs and whatever I did, work with my coach at the time, I don't know, I can't remember, like what I went through a process of really looking at this, why is this coming up and all this. And now I just think back to that, and I think if that happened now, I'd just be like, okay, well, I'm not for you. That's okay. You've not even signed up for my free thing. You have no idea who I am. Like,
Can't believe you were scamming people with a freebie.
I know,
You little
yeah.
money making bitch.
I know, like it's fucking free. You having a
The
laugh?
worst con artist ever.
I
Here,
know.
let me take your nothing.
Yeah, like and you're gonna get weird stuff like that. You are like you really are, and it's fine. And it's like, some people they might have you don't know because she might have had a bad experience with somebody, and we could go into infinite possibilities as to why this happened. But my point is, it took me out for a few days at the time because whatever. But now, like when I get stuff, I look at it, and every now and again I might have a few seconds where I'll go, okay, what? Now it's kind of more like a
Are you
hmm.
well?
Yeah, like I had someone the other day ask me if I'd been smoking something, and that's fine because no,
Not
not
heard light language
anymore.
before, then I take it.
Yeah, like not anymore, mate. But I used to,
Are you
yeah.
offering?
You offer it. You offer it. Yeah, that's
Maybe he's trolling for business. Oh, that's funny. Amy, you've
uh,
frozen. Oh, there you are. Come back.
oh, so it's just like this is gonna happen, and it's just bringing acceptance to it and knowing that like it's all part of it and it's fine. And you again, the word resilience is coming up here. It's like you just get more and more and more resilient and give less and less and less of a fuck, right? About, you know, like and yes, especially when you've come up with a new course or a new product or a new service, there is that vulnerability there because you just created something and you're putting it out to the world and you're like, there is still that part of you that of course wants people to like it because we're natural. It's a human thing to want validation. It's not to need that validation, but it's okay. Like it's okay to feel that way, I think. And the more that you work on yourself and you give yourself that validation and acknowledgement, and you believe in what it is that you're offering, this probably is a whole other podcast, but believing in your services, right? Like, you know, that's what's going to be reflected back at you again. Like if you put things out in the world and you're like, here's a thing, I've got this thing, it's nice, it makes you happy and it gives you a good life,
Buy from
like,
me.
okay, well, like no one cares, right? And so you have there has got to be like this boldness like about you really believing in what it is that you do and being like, this is the best fucking thing ever, because you've got to believe it is, because otherwise no one else is going to believe that, right?
I
But
think
it's
that
okay to,
ties into the next point then, like
yeah,
the
go on.
power of authentic energy. So you've just
Okay.
touched on it there. And it's
Yeah.
like Amy just said that, like imagine trying to put on, guys really good offering. I think it really benefit from you. It's like no one is gonna buy that. Again, I feel like we should call it like spiritual bollocking this podcast. It's not, it's just this is from our hearts. But it is about like when you know exactly what you do, you know exactly the power of your energy, you radiate a confidence, and this infiltrates through every bit in your business, through your content, the way you show up on social media, the way you show up on reels, the way you show up on lives, the way you show up on your stories. Like you just literally, again, it's no fucks given. Like you're really not bothered. Like, okay, if somebody does think, oh, what about this? Like, yeah, you're past that point. You're past that point. You don't care what anybody thinks. And you just like, this is who I am. This is what I came here to do. Have that. And when you get to that point, it is absolutely liberating because this is where you just show up with no filter. You just kind of, as you can see today, well,
Yeah, yeah.
you trust in your divine gifts that much that it's just a case of like I don't need to pretend to be anything else. I don't need to pretend to be liked by anyone. You just pass the point of not caring because you just know that when you put your authentic energy out, and that's like just showing up, you know, with no airs and graces, saying exactly how it is, being in your authentic stride, this is when you are going to attract the people that are meant to work with you because you're unleashing, I like that word, unleashing your energy out It's that energy then that is going to be like the person that is on a bit of a lower vibration that needs your energy. You're going to be on the same kind of like frequency, if that makes sense. So then they can like raise their vibration to what yours is. So this is how the law of attraction works. If you think about it, we've explained this before. So again, it's not necessarily, oh my God, I'm a great coach. It's your energy that they need. So that's why it is about moving through all the programs, releasing all the bullshit, releasing all the trauma, releasing all the energy of the past, and just being your ultimate shining light and energetic being out into the universe. Because this is it's just amazing, isn't it? Just radiate confidence. And this is when you'll then manifest a thriving soul-led business. And this is exactly what I do with my clients. And I had a lady with me the other day, and I just had to ask her, I was just like, I feel like you're playing it safe. And again, it was that trying to put themselves in a box like, but if I know I'm in this box, then I know that this is okay for society because this is exactly where I'm, who people want me to
Right.
be and doing what they want me to do.
Yep.
Okay, is this working for you? No, because we feel a little bit like when you're not being authentic because a part of you is like wanting to kind of like you're just wanting to crack open and be like, this is me. You just want to roar with your pure energy.
Yeah.
So just ask yourself now, just in this moment, sit with yourself, close your eyes down and just ask yourself this question. Am I playing it safe in my business? And you don't even need to listen to words. Feel your internal compass. This is how I teach my clients as well. Like, does it raise with excitement, or does something inside you kind of like go a bit thud? And that is your higher self, your authentic self, your internal compass will tell you oh, we're playing it safe. And it's like what you want to get lit up in your business. You want to be excited in your business. But
Right.
again, though, if you're watering yourself down, trying to be accepted, loved, liked by everyone, then in the end, you're going to fizzle out because, as Amy said, it's effortless being your authentic self. So when you're showing up trying to pretend to be something you're not to try and gain these clients that aren't really in alignment with the version of you that you're putting out there, this is when everything just gets really messy and you end up working with clients that aren't aligned with you because that's what you've put out. You've put out inaligned, inauthentic energy. So, yeah, are you playing it safe in your business? If you are, you're not being authentic. And just think to yourself, what does it look like? What does it feel like to just fully express yourself? If you knew that judgment and fear and failure weren't an option, how would you show up in your business? Would you go from wearing like, I don't know what you wear for your business, but you might just be playing it safe because again, you don't want people to think, what the fuck is that? Like, that's what you want. Because if people are speaking about you, whether it's in a bad way or a negative, bad way or a negative way, in a negative way or a positive way, they are still speaking about you. And it only needs them
Mm.
to be saying it. Like, oh, did you see Activation Amy the other day? Oh, she was doing all this weird light language stuff and she had like this red t-shirt on. And they're telling someone else, thinking like this person's going to be like, oh my God, yeah. And it's like, oh, right, light language, what's this? But the energy of that person telling someone else could then have just gained you another client because you've shown up and been your authentic self and done what you were meant to be doing. And whereas they were trying to be like, trying to dish it to a friend, that friend was like, what's this then? Light language. Okay, yeah, I've heard about this. Oh, what's that person's tag? And that is how you will end up attracting the right people. So whether people are speaking about you in a positive way or in a negative way, people are still speaking about you, which is then generating interest in your business. And this is what you've got to push through. You've got to push through that barrier of, I don't want people to think badly about me. I don't want people to think, like, what if they're talking about me? This is what we want in business. If no one is talking about you, then you're not doing it right. Like you want people to speak about you. And again, though, there's a good friend of ours who's got their own business at the moment that's firing on all cylinders. And he'd hit a bit of a sticky patch and started getting lots and lots and lots of hate. And the thing is, though, although those hate comments on Instagram are, well, what is this? Where's it from? But every single one of those hate comments was telling the algorithm, this person's stuff is really
This is
good and lots
important.
yeah, everybody's liking this, send
Important.
more their way.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you've got people like, what's this bullshit? What's this? What's that? You just send the universe, thank you for the algorithm boost, because all it's telling Instagram or whatever platform you're on is that lots of people are commenting on this. So therefore, this is amazing. So they send more your way. So
Boost
again,
it. It's just
boost
gonna
it, boost it.
boost
So
it. Yeah, it's
again,
just gonna put
just
it to the top.
yeah, just reframe how you see things. And yeah, I feel like I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but it's just, yeah, radiate confidence. Just be you. There's no such thing as bad publicity, as they say in the trade.
Yeah, that's really, really good point, Jenny. Because the thing is, a lot of us are sensitive. Like I know that I'm a highly sensitive, like empathic person, right? So it's like in the beginning, it was like every single time, like a weird comment, and people be like, "Oh, do I do?
They don't like me.
They don't like me.
Bye.
They hate me."
Going
So
back to cleaning bogs.
yeah, exactly. It was safer. So you know, it's like, you know, it's like you've got to become strong in that. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, and there are times when it does feel hard, because nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. But Jenny's got a good point. It is all about the reframing of what's happening
Always
in
got a
your
good point.
reality. So it's like, if you can learn to look at that, because I've stopped deleting the comments now. Like, if you can learn to look at that and just go, okay, that's your perception. That's not what I'm saying though. Like, but that's your perception.
Yeah.
So you do you. Like,
You do you, boo.
you do you. I'm gonna do my perception. Like, it's like, you know, when a lot of the time I like to keep things simple and explain things in a way that makes sense to people. And sometimes I'll get like these light workery comments where it's like, oh, and such angel fallen this, that, and the other from the such and such blah blah dimension realm, da, da, da. And there's all this like what I call light worker talk, where it's and it's like,
Jargon.
yeah, jargon, exactly, spiritual jargon. Like, information is not wisdom, it's not the same, right? And when I create content, I'm creating it from a place of experience and from a place of expressing something that helps people to have a transformation. And I'm never saying that this is right or this is wrong, because there's no such thing as that, right? But it just makes me laugh. Like, some people need to be right, and some people also want that like acknowledgement of that they know something, but it's not the same as internalizing something and working with something and understanding it. Because I think what can happen with spirituality is, like, people can get really in their heads and they want to intellectualize things. And the work that I do, it can't really be intellectualized. I try and break things down as much as possible, but I talk about energy and how it affects people and how it works with people. But I do get the light worker fucking progress. Like, what, whatever, like people comment in like the, you know, all this higher dimensional spiritual jargon, and the truth is no one actually fucking knows. You're
It's
not
like
gonna
my
know.
my angels are better than yours, Amy.
Yeah. I know this thing, and my thing that I know because I've done X, Y, and Z training. Like, you know, I'm right. And so you might get that as well, like other spiritual people trying to tell you that you are wrong. But the more that you know, you come home to your gifts and trust in your channeling abilities, it's like you're just gonna be like, nah, fuck that. Like, if you want to write your information and your perceptions, then good for you, that's fine. But you don't actually know, in the same way that I don't actually know, and nobody actually knows, and we're not going to know until we die, because it's all it's all just what we
It's
feel.
just the world of make believe.
Yeah, like on some level, right? This is something that my clients ask me all the time. So like, am I just making it up? And the answer that I give them is yes. And the reason that I say yes is because everything in creation, this microphone, this laptop, this candle, this picture behind me, it's all made up because it's all been channeled, right? it all came from source. So it's all made up. So we're all creating our own reality. We're all channeling our experience. We're all channeling our unique perceptions and our unique connection to source. So whatever anyone writes about such and such angel, blah, 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 this fucking configuration, this, that, and the other, right? It just makes me laugh because it's like a thing like, I need to be right. Like, no one's right. You don't actually know. It's just your perception. And I've got mine, and that's okay. So don't worry, is to come back to my point, don't worry. You will get these people that try to tell you that you are wrong. You are not. They're not wrong either. No one is wrong. No one is right. It's all okay. But I'm quite passionate about this subject because I think it's important with whatever information we are sharing that it lands in a way that gives people a transformational experience. Otherwise, you're just sharing information. Well done.
Do you feel that that is a good place to leave it now today?
Yeah, my little spiritual rant.
Spiritual rant, drop mic walkout. Well, I hope you found today's podcast valuable. And like we've said, just keep putting yourself out there. Don't let fear block it
No.
and just show up. Keep showing up. So yeah, so like and subscribe if you like what we've put. And also as well, this is an interactive. So if there's anything that you want us to talk about, anything that you need help with your spiritual business, just stick it in the comments below and obviously we'll create content around this. So yeah, if you want to work with either Amy or us, or ourselves, my higher self and me, ourselves, that came out, didn't it? Then yeah, just have a look below in the write-up and you can see where all our links to our web pages and everything are. So we will see you for our next episode then.
Bye.
Bye.